Hey everyone, welcome to the first video of Chapter 8, and today we're talking about the imperfect and future passive of both first and second conjugation verbs. And you can find this in your book on page 86. Okay, so forming the imperfect and future passive of first and second conjugation is pretty easy. So first of all, we have to remember that the imperfect tense uses the sign BA, and that means basically was or were, although there are many different ways we could translate the imperfect, like simple past or kept on, right? But basically imperfect tense uses the tense sign BA and it means was or were. Future tense uses the tense signs BO, BI, and BU. And future tense means will or shall. And remember that to conjugate in the imperfect and future, we took the infinitive and we took away the RE to get the stem, and then we added the tense signs and then the personal endings. Well, future and imperfect passive are very similar. So we're going to set up a conjugation chart with first, second, and third person, and singular and plural for our number at the top. Okay, and I'm going to give you the verb naro, which remember means to tell. So naro, narrare. I'm only going to use the first two principal parts because that's all we need so far. I'm going to take away the RE, and I'm going to write the stem for naro, which is nara. By the way, this is going to be imperfect passive. So imperfect tense, passive voice. Okay, so back to writing the stem. So we have nara, and I'm going to write the stem all the way throughout the chart. Okay, and since it's imperfect, I'm going to add the tense sign BA. Okay, and then after I add the tense sign, the BA for imperfect, now I'm going to add the endings for passive, which remember are R, ris, ter, mer, mini, and enter. Okay, so ris, ter, mer, mini, and enter. Okay, I'm just putting in the macro where they go. Okay, and so if we were translating the first person singular nara bar, that would mean I was told. Okay, or I was being told. Remember that naro means to tell. Okay, the active form narabam would be I was telling, or I told, like I told you a story. But narabar is passive, so it means I was being told, as in somebody else was telling the story to me. So I was being told about the story by you. Okay, so those are passive. And then narabis, of course, is you were told. Okay, narabatur, he, she, or it was told. Narabamer, we were told. Okay, narabamini, you all were told. And then narabantur, they were told. Okay, and that's how you conjugate a verb in the imperfect passive, a first conjugation verb. Now we're going to set up another chart here, and this time I'm going to give you a second conjugation verb. Just going to do this real quickly because it's very similar, right? The only difference is that instead of having an A for the stem, we have an E for the stem. Okay, so I'm going to conjugate the verb dokeo for you. Okay, so dokeo, dokere are my first two principal parts. Take off the RE, and I have the stem doke. Okay, and then I'm going to add BA for my tense, since it's imperfect. Okay, putting in my mikra. Okay, and then I'm going to add the endings for passive. So R, ris, ter, mer, mini, enter. Okay, and again putting in mikra. And just to make this a little short, I'm going to translate just the third person plural here. So this doke bantu would be they were taught, or they were being taught. Okay, obviously doke bar I was taught, doke baris you were taught, doke batur he sheer it was taught, doke bamer we were taught, doke bamini you all were taught, and doke bantur they were taught. Okay, so that's how you conjugate imperfect passive for first and second conjugation. Okay, now we're going to move on to future. Okay, so we'll do future passive. Okay, and we'll start with first conjugation. So I'm going to set up a chart with first, second, and third here, and then singular and plural. And we're going to use amo as our verb. So down here I have my first two principal parts, amo, amare, take off the RE, and I get stem. And then I'm going to add my three tense signs, BO, BI, and then when I get to third plural, BU. And then all I do from here is add passive endings. Pretty easy. So R, ris, ter, mer, mini, enter. Although there is one change we need to make. In the second person singular, the I actually changes to an E. So the correct form for second singular would be amaberis. I know that seems weird, and it's an exception, and this happens in Latin sometimes, particularly in second singular passive forms. We'll encounter this again in third conjugation in the passive. And so the I changes to an E. So instead of beris, it becomes beris. And that happens in both first and second conjugation. So if we're translating these, amabor is I will be loved. Okay, future and passive. Amaberis, you will be loved. Amabiter, he sheer it will be loved. Amabimer, we will be loved. Amabimini, you all will be loved. And amabunter, they will be loved. Okay, let's do one more example, this time with the second conjugation passive. Okay, so we'll set up one more chart. First, second, and third, and singular and plural. And this time for our verb, let's use moneo, moneo, monere, to warn. Okay, so we're going to take off the RE and get our stem, which is mone. Okay, now that we have our stem, we're going to add our endings, BO. And now that we are experienced, we're going to change that to an E right away instead of an I. Then we're going to go back to an I. And then finally, BU. Okay, now we're going to add our endings, R, RIS, TER, MER, MINI, and ENTER. Okay, I'm going to translate all of these for you. So Monet bor is I will be warned. Monet beris, you will be warned. Monet bitter, he, she, or it will be warned. Okay, definitely an R right there. Monet bimmer, we will be warned. Okay, Monet bimini, you all will be warned. And Monet bunter, they will be warned. Okay, and that's it for first and second conjugation, imperfect and future passive, and thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next time.